Mr. Ken Dowell. Today we're going to talk about his amazing podcast, Strategic Moves, and just his whole career as a political consultant and how he's been moving throughout the city, just making major moves. And then y'all know we got my girl Brittany tonight, coming special guest host with us tonight. It's going to be a good one. So without further ado, Mr. Ken Dowell, how you doing, man?
Hey, thanks for having me on, Brandon.
No, we appreciate you, man. We appreciate you.
No problem at all.
Like I'm a podcast head, and one of the things I like doing, I like podcasts, and I like yours. And it's an honor to have you on tonight.
Oh, thank you, brother.
Yeah, thank you. So I like as on our podcast, we like to start from the beginning, very beginning. Let's talk about Cleveland, born and raised.
Born and raised here, yeah. Lived here all my life. Grew up in Glenville.
I was gonna say where your hood at?
Glenville, brother. You know,
Okay.
Best hood in the city.
Okay, all right. Big different, but we're gonna leave that for another day.
That's the best. If you pound for pound, I've interviewed a lot of people.
Yeah.
And most of the guests, and I haven't did it on purpose, but most of them are from Glenville.
Okay, all right.
And if not, that's where they started. Their families from. So you want to know where it started from? I think everything originated from Glenville.
But no, listen. No, all right, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So anyway, I grew up in Glenville. Grew up over there off 105 between Superior and St. Clair. And I lived there almost all my life.
Yeah.
That's went to school. I didn't go to Glenville. I got bused, so we went to Lincoln West. So
okay.
Yeah, one of those things.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So all right. So we go from high school, then you go to college.
No.
Okay.
No, I ain't go to college.
No, listen. I dropped out the first semester, so you ain't gonna tell me.
Saved yourself a ton of money.
Listen.
It's not that I didn't attempt to, but it wasn't. It just wasn't there for me. I grew up. It was kind of back in our days. Everybody was hustling.
Yeah.
You know, I grew up in that area of crack cocaine was just really high in the communities, and people were just doing that. And if you wasn't selling, you were either addicted or you were hustling, doing other stuff. And I wasn't. Unfortunately, I didn't have to hustle drugs, but I was doing a lot of other stuff. And found myself just doing a lot of other things other than going to school. And those other things were opening up businesses.
Yeah.
So my very first business I got into, it was right out of high school actually, was getting into real estate. We were doing mortgages. I was a mortgage broker.
Nice. Okay. So now the plot thickens. Okay.
Yeah. So we were buying and selling property, doing mortgages back then. I was, matter of fact, I believe I was one of the very first licensed mortgage brokers in the state of Ohio.
Nice.
Minority mortgage broker, because before you didn't need a license to do mortgages. You know, you can just go into a mortgage company, apply, and fill out the paperwork, and the broker will then send your paperwork to one of the companies they were working with, and you will, make fees and that kind of thing. So I was doing that for years.
Yeah.
Then we got into buying and selling property. I was doing that for a while back then, and then moved on to some other stuff. But my very first business, I was 21 years old, right out of, in between that and high school, and it was being a mortgage broker.
Nice.
Mortgage broker.
So my real estate brain is going now. So back then, when interest rates high as hell, back then, or was it a little bit different now?
Interest rates were pretty much high. Yeah, I can remember interest rates being at 7-9%.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, they were high, and if you had bad credit, it was more than that. Yeah, so interest rates were always high back then.
So I hope y'all heard that. So y'all complain about interest rates now. Y'all hear back in the day
they were a lot higher.
They lied,
So did that, and then right after that, I then got into doing construction.
Okay.
So I had a real estate company, not a real estate company, but a construction company where we were going in and rehabbing houses and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Are y'all able to?
Yeah, he's recording. But T, is he coming in or he's staying out there?
He don't want to interrupt, but I guess he interrupted now.
We pause real quick.
If he's coming in, if he's not, he's out. Yeah, so then, I owned a construction company for a little while. We were buying and selling property that we buy, we would rehab those properties, and then I was working for neighborhood development corporations, and we were working in there, working for neighborhood development corporations, rehabbing houses and selling them. So did a lot of that type of stuff.
So basically these young boys, they be doing that whole internet guru type. So y'all doing that back in the day. You was a pioneer on this in that joint.
And I tell people all the time, I'm just that old. And when I say I'm just that old when things started to change. I remember when, you know, we had to use the yellow pages and the white pages, and we actually had to sit there and create ads to put in there. And, you know, and every week you would really have to create ads and put them in the newspaper, and the newspaper actually generated leads for you. So I remember doing that and drawing your artwork yourself, because it wasn't like no graphic designer you would go to and say, hey, you know, I got this idea, can you do it? You actually literally just knew somebody who could draw good, and they actually put your ads together for you and put them up. And here goes a crazy one. You know, they put your name in alphabetical order. So everybody, if your name was Brandon Plumbing, you was AAA Brandon Plumbing. So, you know, so I was just old enough to remember all of that stuff starting to change to what we're doing right now in business. Even the internet. So the internet was the same.
So I feel like that gives you a leg up then, you know what I'm saying? Like the newer, not saying newer, but like how, because one of the aspects, you know, you break it down, Generation Z, baby boom, all that good stuff. But I feel like that gives you a leg up on people like myself and because like you've been through it, you tried and true. You know, like you know, you probably know the stuff that we don't know nothing about.
Well, it just gives you a different perspective of it, you know, and sometimes it hurts because the older we get, we kind of get caught up in our ways of the way things is, so you're not so open-minded about the new stuff. So the one thing that internet and podcasting and stuff has opened my mind to say, maybe we ought to look at things a different versus the way we custom.
No, and I'm going to ask you, brother, because I'm going to ask you, let's try, because I know you still got your businesses going on. And by the way, your daughter's here, you know what I'm saying? So you have a family, you transition a little bit. Let's talk about the next transition in your life. What led to your other aspirations?
Well, the political stuff kind of came along back to the neighborhood I grew up in. By growing up in Glenville, I grew up in a community that had all of the high-profile elected officials that we know of in the past lived. I lived right across the street. I mean, like directly across the street from Michael White, who became Mayor Michael White. And he lived there, but his mom lived like 2-3 doors down on the same side of the street I was on. So he grew up on that street. His mom and dad was on that street, so he was there. We had a commissioner in the county by the name of Virgil Brown. He was African American there. He was a commissioner, lived around the corner. C.J. Prentice was a state representative, really known. She lived around the corner. George Forrest, who was the council president.
Yeah, I remember George Forrest.
In the same Glenville community.
Okay.
So that community was just rich with a lot of political activism and everything along that line. So the very first campaign I worked on, I had to be roughly maybe around 12, 13. Mayor Mike White, but then he was not a mayor or councilman. He wanted to run for council. He ran for councilman in the ward we was living in. And I still remember the day he came over, knocked on the door, told my grandmother he was running, wanted to run for council, and he wanted our help. And when he said that, it was me and a whole bunch of little kids in the neighborhood. And you know, I tell people this story then because, again, I'm old enough, just this old enough to remember. Here goes another one. Y'all really be like, yeah, you really old. Back then, Mike White was really convincing us to work for him for Happy Meals from McDonald's.
Oh yeah.
Because McDonald's, and I'm just that old, was really starting to take off. And everybody just loved McDonald's. And we were little kids that we were 13 years old. And he said, hey man, I want y'all to drop these flyers, work this all day. And we were like, hey, I'm gonna take y'all to McDonald's. And we were like, we're going to McDonald's. You know, that was the big old thing back then. And so that was like that campaign. So with that, over the years, it was always little campaigns here, little things that were going on. The Glenville Community Festival was a really big piece of our community. And back then, the festival was over on St. Clair. And I mean, you talk about like tens of thousands of people who used to come to that festival. So I was part of that committee that helped to put that festival on for years and did that. And then one day, a lady wanted to run for council in Glenville named Saber Scott. I helped her and did her campaign and helped her through that, and we actually lost the very first campaign. And just losing that campaign and working on that campaign. A few other people by now and aged up, you know.
Yeah.
A few people been watching what I was doing and asked me to work on a few other campaigns after that, and one thing led to another. And
before you knew this, you said, "I'm come to me. You want to get elected? Come to me."
Right. They were coming to me. They was like,
up.
you know, and they were coming to me in regards of trying to help the minority community, because basically, let's keep it real. You know, we talking the county is majority. We are only 30% of the county African American. We only make up 30%. City of Cleveland, the numbers are much higher. I think we're along the lines of maybe 60 or so percent in the city of Cleveland, where African Americans are. So with that, you know, just being able to make my mark into that, been doing that, and ever since then, man, I would say for the last 20 years, just about almost every major campaign or anybody of any significance, and that's almost everybody who run for office, either I've been involved or I had something to do with it.
And you know what? I don't think that's even like something to just brush over real quick. You said every major, and that's impressive right there.
Yeah. The last one we did, we just finished up. Well, before that, I was Marsha Fudge. You know, she was our Congresswoman.
Shouts to her.
And yeah, shouts out to her. Now she's Secretary, Marsha Fudge.
Yeah, doing her thing.
Doing her thing. Secretary of HUD. But I was her political director for 15 years.
Nice.
So while she was the Congresswoman here, I did all her political stuff for her while she was in D.C. And then once she left, Chantel then decided to run for Congress, and I did both of their campaigns, and that's where that's kind of where I left it.
So I got a question. This is maybe being selfish. That's one great thing about podcasts, because you ask questions that you want to ask. You know. So I want to run for office, right? What do you say? Well, how would I start? How would I start going? How would I need to start to get out there, to start getting my campaign out there?
Just start talking to people about what you want to do. You know, I think the biggest thing is just getting it. Most people, you know, it's just getting involved.
Yeah.
You know, part of what we don't have a lot of, and I hate to say it, man, is this new generation, you know, they just gotta have it now.
No, that's
They just want it now, and there's nothing wrong with the now generation, because I'll be more impressed, because, you know, every day they come out with something new, and they ain't about it. I'll be like, wow, I ain't think y'all was gonna pull that off, and you pulled it off. So that part of it, but it's the generation of now, and sometimes it's like you need to get involved in some of the stuff that's going on in the community. And if we did more of that, then the stuff that you're running for office for wouldn't be that big a deal.
Right.
You know, and I think that we rely on elected officials to solve problems that we as the community need to solve ourselves.
Excuse me, can I hit that real quick? Yeah, that's good right there.
We do a lot of that, you know. And then we blame them. We'll blame the elected officials that it's their fault that it didn't go down. You know, I give you a really good one, and I'm not saying this that I want to pick on anybody or anything, but there's so many issues that's going on in our community that, you know, just like what happened in the city of Cleveland with the police department. They brought in, they got this new consent decree and things of that nature, so that they can watch over the decisions that the police are making and those kind of things. But some of the stuff that was going on in the community all along that we turn a blind eye to, and we don't speak up on when crime and things that's happening, is the reason why our community is sort of in the position that it's in. And then when it gets all out of control, then we look at the folks and want to blame them for doing it. And it's some of the stuff that we kind of just need to speak up on. And sometimes the elected officials need the community to speak up on behalf of what they're doing. And I'll give you an example of what I mean. And you watch it in politics. If an elected official decided that they wanted to fight for something that they believe that the community really needs, and the community may really need it, and the African American community is the perfect example of this, where there could be something that you truly need, and we won't say anything about it. We'll wait for the councilman or somebody else to say something about it. When they say something about it, it's political. So when they say something and they're dealing in city hall politics or the government or the county or federal politics, it's politics when they make a decision. If you as a community don't come down and support or get behind the decision that the people are making on your behalf, it's just like they making a decision and it's politics. And that's why everybody look at it as politics, because nobody never gets their back. It could be as simple as saying, you know what, we need more grocery stores.
Yeah.
And nobody never speak up about the fact that we need grocery stores, but y'all don't have no grocery stores.
Right.
But you say nothing about it, and you kind of just let it go. The elected officials, when they say something about it, people look at it and say it's political. And our community are the one that suffered. And you look at other communities, you know, such as the West Side and other places that may be getting the benefits and the stuff that they're getting from their community, and we're being shortchanged because we never speak up. We just don't speak up.
No, all right, listen. I'm taking mental notes, so when I run, you know what I'm saying, I know how to go about it. Y'all, I'm being real. Y'all heard it first in the put-up experience. I'm going to run one of these days. I don't know when, but I know it's coming. You know?
And then pick what you want to do. You know, running for political office is not, it's a lot of work.
Yeah, absolutely. I believe it.
And most people think it's easy, and they think that the job that they're running for is going to solve a problem that they think an elected official can fix. And 9 times out of 10, they can't do it. You know, I want to run for state representative because state representative position is open, and I want to run for that position. But a state representative is a legislator. You ready to go to Columbus and just write laws with a bunch of Republicans that you probably never will get anything passed? It sounded good that you wanted to run. You said they gave you the platform to get on your soapbox to say, hey, I want to fight for blah, blah, blah. But a legislator ain't getting it done. You're wasting your time, you're down there doing it. So maybe you was better off just being the activist. Sometimes you're just better off being the person that's gonna fight for what is needed, and you don't get paid the way an elected official do, but you get more done. You see, and so that's all I'm saying. Sometimes it's more activism than anything. So if you want to run for office, I would say the first thing to do is get active. You just gotta be active.
I got you. All right. No, listen. Are y'all taking notes? Cause like you're right. I feel like there's a young person watching this right now, and they're probably saying, "So I want to make some change, and to make real change, they got to learn how to probably go about it."
Then the second thing you need to do is come see me.
There you go.
Come see me. Holla at me.
Yeah. No, listen. We'll talk afterwards. Because podcasting, you know what I'm saying, it's the platform, but you know what I'm saying, I want to, expand one of these days.
No, that's it. Politics is hard, but yeah, anybody want to do it, get active. Make sure you talk to people who've been in the field, who knows a little bit about it, and reach out to, use your network. And
that's
it'll
real.
come to you. Get ready to raise some money to you. It costs.
Listen. Yeah. I'm about to say, I don't think people take that consideration like that.
No, they never take. Oh, and that's it. So let's even take that just for the folks who may consider, even think about it. Average race, if you was going to run for, say, a city council race in the city of Cleveland, it would probably cost you, on average, you shouldn't even get in a race if you're not prepared to spend at least $25,000. If you're going to run for,
I got some more house.
and I mean that's considered getting in it, and I gotta run because there might be 3 or 4 people. You gotta buy yard signs, you gotta buy T-shirts, you gotta do mailers, all of this stuff you consider. It'd be about $25,000. City of Cleveland, if you was running for a council race in one of these little suburbs, you probably get away with about $10,000-$15,000. If you want to run for mayor of the city of Cleveland, you probably have to spend somewhere between anywhere on average of $500,000 to $1 million. Justice Bibb spent some cheese to get that spot he got, and the people who ran against him spent even more money, and they lost. Right.
Did I take one off? No. I'm just wondering.
Congress, Chantel Brown campaign, between her and Nina Turner, between them two, they probably spent somewhere between $10 to $12 million for that seat.
You take a loan out for that? Okay, what's up?
You gotta raise it. That's
you gotta raise. Okay,
you gotta do fundraisers. You gotta. That's why I say you gotta get active.
Get active,
because if you're not active and people don't think they see you doing anything, and you come into them like, hey, you want to support? You're like, I don't know nothing about it. What you been doing? Well, I'm gonna write you a check, right? So you gotta be active. So the first thing you gotta do is be active.
Right? Yeah,
So,
you gotta believe in the very
they
thing.
gotta believe it. They gotta believe in you,
Yeah.
not what you saying, but what they see you doing. You see what I mean? So it's the girl who's always on time at the meeting. It's the girl or the guy who always dependable on doing what I need him to do. It's the guy who always, that person, so that when you say, hey, I want to do this, you know what? You my guy.
Yeah,
you know what?
I'm gonna back you.
I'm gonna back you because you. And so whatever you say you believe in, they with you because they like the way you move.
Yeah, that's
right?
good.
And they watched you, and so that's why we say get involved and do the stuff that you need to do.
So, I gotta talk about the elephant in the room.
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk about the man whose name we should not say, Mr. T.
Trump?
Yeah.
Oh,
So we seen, and only because
we 15 minutes in now, right?
Yeah, exactly. You're right. But I would like to say his political campaign is a little bit different from what the typical one is, right? He ran off a whole different platform. He ran with a whole different strategy than I feel like other politicians have done in the past, right? Well, I feel like kind of paved the way for other people of his caliber to make headway, in my opinion.
No,
right?
I think Donald Trump was the only person who can do that. Donald Trump was branded hard enough. One of the very first books I read in middle school was a Donald Trump's book. And it was about how his father grew up. I can't even remember the name, but they talked about his father. And I remember, the one thing I can't remember from the book, that his father's first development was he was building garages. Because back in those days, houses was being built. People didn't have cars.
Yeah.
So they didn't have garages. Right?
Oh, wow, it's an opportunity.
So he found the opportunity,
Nice.
and the Trump built their fortune off of his father developing garages to put next to houses because I wasn't that old, so I don't remember that. But it was back in those days, people were building houses with no garages.
Yeah.
So Donald Trump's dad, that's how they built the garage business into that. So I say that to say that Donald Trump's brand has been around for so long, and there were so many people believing in that brand.
Yeah.
So and I hate to say it, but mainly poor people believe in success.
Yeah.
You always want to believe that somebody's successful and you too can be successful.
Yeah.
So when they looked at Donald Trump, they didn't look at Donald Trump as the leader of the country. They looked at it just success. You look more successful than anybody up there.
Yeah.
And that's why he won. Then when he got into the position, then it came down to the politics and the policies and the stuff that started rubbing people wrong.
Yeah.
And then you had those forever Trumpster and the nuts. And I'm just flat out calling them nuts, man. Some of the people are just crazy who are just 100% down with him and gonna do whatever he say. I mean, and you gotta say it's nutty because some of it is crazy. You know, it's only so far you can go, and it's some people who's gonna go all the way with it. I call them nuts.
No, I get it. I get it. But like I said, I just know the way he went about it, like I said, was different from any other politician I've ever seen.
He wasn't a politician. That's right.
And exactly, that's what I mean. He wasn't a politician, but
he was a successful businessman.
Yeah.
That people looked at success and said, I want to be him. Just like Obama. People looked at Obama and they looked at Obama as black African Americans, and they said, Obama, I can become that.
Yeah.
It was a lot of people, white, poor, lower class people who looked at Donald Trump and had, once again, the hope that
aspirations
of doing it. And it's been a long time since any other candidate has given them that. Joe Biden didn't give them that, and none of the other candidates didn't. Hell, Trump was, he was straight up like, I saw one interview where, Hillary and them was debating him, and he asked him about the way he was spending his money. He flat out told him, I was doing it that way because I was getting away with it.
I remember that.
Right, remember that? And everybody was like, wow, you actually said it.
He said that.
But people was like, it's the truth. And everybody like, hell, you was getting away with it, why not?
Right.
And that's what I'm saying. So people was like, I don't vote for that dude. That's my guy.
Right.
And that's basically what it was. Now, was it right? No, he's great.
Yeah.
We see what's going on now.
We see what's going on now. Right. But like I said, I look at it like this way. I feel like, and this is just me, that he created this this position that now I feel like other people not take advantage of, but what's stopping the Cardi B from running for president?
No, but it's always been that way. It's always been that way. Kanye West said he was running.
True.
Yeah, no, you're right about
I mean,
that.
he ran the last time. He said, I'm running.
He's still running.
He's still running. So anybody can run. I mean, again, what it showed you is if your brand is strong enough,
Yeah.
you can win. And you got to have a strong brand. Again, Trump's brand is strong. I read it
back then.
as a book. They told me, you need a book to read. And
Right,
I went there and I saw Trump. I don't know what made me do it, but it was something I said, I'm going to read about Donald Trump, the Trump family.
Yeah.
And I read that book for that, and that was back then.
Yeah.
So he's been around, his family been around, the name, it's there. Cardi B got a way to go.
So let me ask you this. So see, now my brain's going now. So I got all type of questions now. Because now I'm asking, as a politician, is my politics need to be stronger? My brand need to be stronger? Which one does it need to be?
If you are active in the community that you're running in, you only got to be. All politics is local.
Mm-hmm.
So you just need to be locally active in where you're running.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you're running for president, yes, you need a strong brand.
Okay.
Yes, if you're running for president. But you're running for councilman, you're running for mayor, you're running for...
Hey, listen.
Yeah, and you just said you was running. You
Hey,
didn't say
I'm
you running for president.
Oh, no, I got a ways to go. But I'm just thinking, like, now my brain's going, like, I need to work on my brand now. I need to work on...
Yeah, you should always work on your brand. And doing the stuff that I told you, being active, is actually working on your brand. Because you know what you're doing,
That's
right?
good.
And so I'm going to work on my brand of making sure people know who I am.
Yeah.
And I'm that guy you can depend on. I'm that girl you can depend on. So that's what working on. It's all the same.
That's good. Okay. So I'm gonna say y'all wait 20 something. Y'all gonna see me in the office. I don't know what office, but it's coming soon. So y'all wait for that. But I do want to transition into now. You have strategic moves. I want to talk about that because we talk on camera and like we talking about some of the things we have dealt with in this podcast game, And I think not enough people understand the work that goes into this thing. And I love having other people who have their own podcast because we can relate on a whole other level. So let's talk about what made you start strategic moves. Where did that even start?
Well, so again, I have my company, which is Strategic Resources Consulting, which we've been doing for, like I said, over 20 years, doing political consulting work. We do governmental relations work. We do public relations work. On the governmental relations work, give you an example. When we did the branding for Universal Pre-Kindergarten. So if you see that brand around, we did some branding from them early on. We also did a lot of branding and community engagement work for Ohio Means Jobs. So when you see that kind of stuff, we do contracts and governmental relations work for that. Do all kinds of levies and all kinds of things that makes a lot of governmental work. So the strategic resources for the last 20 years, not just doing campaigns, because campaigns are not sustainable.
Yeah.
They go from this and that. And be quite honest with you, a lot of the campaigns, by you knowing a lot of people and being friends with everybody, everybody gets the discount and don't have to raise the money. So the campaign isn't what sustained me for 20 years. It was doing the community relations work, it was doing the governmental relations work, it was doing all of those type of things that got us going. So we specialize in those kind of things. And so, like I mentioned, did Congresswoman Marcia Fudge became Secretary Fudge. And after she became Secretary of Fudge, we did the battle with Chantel Brown, and she became Congresswoman. And I remember, man, saying, hey, I'm going to go to D.C. and see Chantel get sworn in.
Nice.
So when I get to D.C., I go there, and we get to sit up on, I go inside the Congress halls where they have the meetings, and where they do the State of the Union address and all of that stuff. So I'm in that room upstairs, and I see Marcia Fudge come in, and when she comes in, just everybody sort of swirling around and everything, and I'm just looking like, damn, she's a big deal. People just don't realize how much of a really big deal she is. And I'm watching all these people just really coming up, shaking her hand, congratulating her, all of this stuff, and watching her operate. Then I see Chantel come in. And Chantel come in, and for whatever reason, man, she just looked so tiny, looked smaller than everybody that was there. It's just like, man, she looked young, real small. Like you could tell this is her first day of school. Like, like really, look at this. And so I'm sitting there, man, and I'm looking at them, and I'm sitting there thinking to myself, like, man, what the hell are you gonna do now? You done spent 15 years working with Marcia Fudge. been doing this for over 20 years, so that's most of your time you've been doing with her. She done moved on to HUD. It ain't like I want a job, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, hire me to come work at HUD, you know, I wasn't trying to get no job, right? So I'm sitting there really trying to figure out what I'm gonna do, man, and didn't have no idea, man. And that kind of was bothering me. Man. It really was bothering me. Like, what's next? You want to come back home and start over with Chantel?
Yeah.
She's new congresswoman, so hey, you gonna start all over and do all of that another 15 years or whatever? And it was really bothering me about what I wanted to do next. And so I came home and so I had some downtime. So I came home and just started watching a bunch of TV and got tired of watching TV. Because it was nothing on, you know, and so I started watching podcasts, YouTube. So watch some YouTube, man, just see what everybody else is fucking doing.
Shout out YouTube.
See what everybody else is doing. You know what I mean? I'm like, I much rather see what this brother over there doing compared to some of this mess that's going on TV, right? So I started watching some of that, and I started watching. I got my inspiration from Talib Kweli.
Oh yeah, the Block Party, the People's Party.
The People's Party.
Oh man, you're right.
I got hooked on the People's Party.
Yeah, that's a good podcast.
And just start watching it over and over and over. And I told my wife, I said, man, I'm gonna start a podcast. She said, really? I said, yeah, I'm gonna start a podcast. I'm gonna go to YouTube University.
There we go.
And I said, I'm gonna start watching all these YouTube videos until I get this thing down. And my show gonna look just like Talib Kweli.
Yeah.
That's what I told her. And so from that standpoint, I just started trying to work it, trying to put that together. And I actually went to YouTube University. They'll tell you my TV is always on YouTube. And it's always on videos that's telling me how to do something and learn something.
My TV the same way.
Same thing. Yeah, I just keep it going and pick up little things. I mean, all day it's just on there picking up. So I taught myself how to, you know, do the lighting, taught myself how to edit, taught myself how to do all the stuff that we need. Kennedy kicked in when she got back from college. Lateef was my camera guy. He was all there.
Oh, that was up.
Working with me and watching me spaz out trying to get it the way I want to get it because it wasn't looking the way I wanted it.
Yeah.
Now, I will tell you the only fortunate part about it, to me, was that by me being in business and having being established a little bit, I spent a lot of money. I really did. And Lateef could tell. As a matter of fact, he gave me the bright idea to start sending some of the mess back because I was ordering the wrong stuff. You know, and it was just sitting there, like, I don't know why I ordered that, man. I can't use it. It was, or I ordered something, and once you order it, then you'll look at the reviews the next time and you'll be like, don't order that. You should have ordered this. You know, and I'll be like, man, I just bought this. You know, so I went through that.
I was like 8 mics before I got to this one.
Exactly. It's like drive you crazy, man. My lights were killing me, man. I was buying all these lights, man. I had so many pair of lights because I finally watched some videos that talked about how to set your lighting and just really got into that. And just all kinds of tips, man. And running. And here's a funny story. I mean, the TV is always on YouTube, and it's always. I found this program that I do my editing with and do all my editing work. I found it like at 3 o'clock in the morning because I was rolling over and the TV was on and the guy in the video said, do you want to edit your videos and be able to do it in real time? I said, that's exactly what I woke up and I said, exactly what I want to do. So, I mean, I was into that kind of mode with it, man. And I got everything down and I started putting it together. And so I wanted to use the podcast as just a form of being able to bring in. I met all these people over the years, had a lot of experience. So I wanted to bring them in, talk about their experiences, talk about my experiences and what we can do to kind of share that with everybody. And then from that standpoint, then start using the platform to use some of my experience personally in business to kind of help people get business. You know, I think that I'm not a guy who going to tell you, hey, I didn't turn. You can help you get millions of dollars, and I'm gonna show you. I'm not gonna do that.
You from the Lamborghini,
I ain't gonna tell you that. And I done help millions of clients get millions of dollars, and you follow my. No, but I've been in business for well over 25 years.
Yeah.
I got kids who I put through school and did very well. I have always been my own boss, but very few times in my life. And if you want those tricks and tips, I can show you those.
There we
but
go.
That's about all I got, you know.
No.
And so I think I want to share that experience with
That's
people
good.
because I'm watching a lot of people out here, man, who don't have a tenth of the experience, man. And they out here selling dreams to everybody.
Selling dreams,
Man,
straight
selling
dreams.
man. and that's what really did it, you know. My last story on that podcast for you then is I was talking to a woman when I was just getting the podcast together, and she wanted me to join this Roku program or some program. And I was like, I don't think I want to do all of that. And then she ended up and she said, well, what are you selling? And I'm like, I ain't selling nothing. I ain't selling nothing. I got a podcast. I interview people. I ain't selling nothing. And she was like, don't you got a business? I said, yeah, I have a business. She said, well, what you sell at your business? And I said, you know, I started talking about the political. She said, well, that's what you sell.
Yeah.
And that's when it hit me.
Oh, that's
I said,
good.
wait a minute. Maybe this is why I'm doing this podcast, man. Because
That's good.
it's more than these interviews. I'm supposed to be using the podcast to leverage my business. And so the tip I want to tell everybody is that's what I'm doing, and I think that's what everybody else should do. So if you're going to use it.
Thank you, Brittany. I was getting ready. I was getting my hand around. I was about to stretch it. I'm like, I'm not doing.
I use my podcast to leverage everything I'm doing in my business. I bring people on to build credibility about who I am because they come on and they say, Ken is a great guy. I've been working with him for years and he does great work for us and this and that. And I utilize it to help me. People can say, you know what, he's a thought leader and he's an influencer because he knows a lot about everything that we're talking about.
You got some heavy hitters on your show, man. Like some heavy hitters. You're talking about, like, I'm like, okay, all right.
I'm trying to.
No.
Well, I'm going to get a lot of your folks because, again, the thing I admire about your podcast the most is that I look at your podcast and these are people I see, I know, or I can be like, you know what, I saw that person, or I like what they're doing locally.
Yeah.
So, to have the heavy hitters is one thing, but again, we talked about the community and where I'm at. I admire you guys most because how you guys built your audience is through that. And that's what I was telling Brandon, like, I need you to help me do that. I can have heavy hitters and people look at them, but I really want to impact the regular people. Because again, I'm regular. Again, I tell you how I got mine and how I did mine. So I'm just like every other guest you had on your show, but I just had the luxury and the privilege of being able to work for a lot of high elected officials and that kind of thing, you know. So.
Well, now you're part of the family now. So now, you know. So we appreciate you. Yeah. No, because like I said, I tell anybody heartbeat, they ask me a podcast, I say it is not easy.
No,
this is not easy. Scheduling, lighting, editing, graphics, like you said, a lot of work goes into this. And I don't think a lot of people, they think you just get in front of the camera, you speak to it, and you say whatever comes to your heart and all that. So no, actually, it takes work.
It takes a lot of work, man. A lot of takes, a lot of everything. I mean, I remember doing so many takes. I remember one time I did so many takes, it was like 40 of them on the thing. I was like, that's so many. I was like, I mean, just all of that stuff to really try to master this thing is really hard. And I'm still learning every day, you know. Again, I'm only at episode 51 or 52. And you know, the tip we were just talking about earlier, to most podcasters and everyone, you gotta at least get over 100, 150 shows to even start to see any results. So we got a long ways to go. And a lot of podcasters and people that you see out there when they get started, you would think they just got started. You'll see their podcast and swear, oh, I must watch it episode 1, and you'll mess around. They've been podcasting for 3 and 4 years. You'd be like, oh man, they just didn't put their episode on there. They've been around for years doing it. So you know, just because it's new to you, it's been around for years.
Or, and it's another thing. This is statistics. Now we're getting a statistic. Most podcasts don't make it past episode 20, let alone 50.
Right.
So once again, we're gonna give you your flowers because you already had 50.
And hold on, here goes the bad thing about it. I started over.
Oh, you started over?
I deleted my channel.
Oh man.
Oh man. I deleted my channel. I think we did about 6 months in. And I was talking to, again, out there talking to, trying to figure out the algorithms and all this. Guy with some guy was saying, you need to brand your channel, you need to do all this. And he was walking me through the steps, man. And he said, all right, now hit this button. I hit it, man. And I said, this thing that says delete.
Ooh.
And he was like, oh. And I said, what you mean, oh? And from there, my whole channel was gone.
Oh, that hurt my heart. It didn't happen to me.
Oh, man. I was so hurt by it. And I mean, I was really hurt. And I just said, we got to start over. And I mean, I was really, really hurt. I was trying to act like I wasn't hurt, but I was devastated. I was like, oh my God, I don't believe I did that thing. And, but yeah, that was the worst part. And other things, you know, I haven't had no real disasters on any shows other than, you know, little things we try to work out that we improve, but nothing really other than I deleted. That's the worst. I deleted that whole channel.
So let me ask you this, because I know for me, like, you know how a kid, so it was for us growing up. When one of us got whooping, I'm like, I don't want to do that because I'm going to get a whooping, right? And I say that, like, what has happened on your podcast that happened that now you're like, I'm not doing that again. I'm not making that mistake again. Like, I know obviously the delete button no more or whatnot, but like, I know for us, like for me, when recording, airplane mode. Never have it not on airplane mode, because if it's not on airplane mode, someone call me, whole episode not gonna record that portion when they call. Not gonna it's over with.
You know, we doing pretty bad. We're doing really good. I cannot. I haven't had no real nothing that we can't. You know, I haven't had a situation where we recorded a show and nothing came out, or the volume was. I haven't had that. I didn't have some shows where I done recorded and it was like, ooh, Lateef, look at the video. We might have not was happy with our standard of it or the audio, and Lateef will either, I'll fix it in post, or he'll go in there and try to work it out. Almost every show we done. I don't think we lost the show yet. No, we haven't lost the show.
One time for y'all.
We've been able to fix a lot of shows.
We done had our share of mess up now. Trust me, he done fixed them. It ain't like he did some surgery on it. Yeah, it wasn't like we right. No, it wouldn't. Now I can tell you this: I haven't had a perfect show.
Yeah.
Now I'll say that.
What do you consider to be a perfect show, though?
Yeah.
One that I can say is perfect.
Okay, I got you.
And that's one that we didn't came close.
Yeah.
But I will they'll know, and I'll let you know.
Okay.
Like, you know what, Brandon, this show I think is perfect.
Hey, listen. This is one right here that I consider to be perfect, because it's good conversation.
Yeah. Now I got high standards though.
Okay, yes sir.
It ain't that I'm saying, you know, when I say it's perfect, he might say it's perfect. Kenny may say when I say it's perfect, because I know it's certain things in there that I'm looking for, and I haven't had that made me feel like, you know what, this is I done had some shows I'd be like, oh, I really like that show.
Yeah.
I done came out, was like, I done had guests that I really didn't think I was going to like interviewing. That came out and was like, you know what, they were all right. Yeah, I didn't think that interview was going to go well.
So let me ask you that, because from one podcast to another, how do you get prepared for an interview? And then what is not saying your goal, but what interview, what are you trying to get from each interview with each person you interview on your podcast?
I prepare by just going and looking. I hope and pray they did interviews with somebody else. It's much easier to watch videos, and I'll sit there and watch a whole 20-30 minute video, and like I said, I'll be playing it while I'm getting dressed. Just keep playing it and playing it and listening, and take from that to build off of the questions that they asked them, or find out, oh, you didn't get in enough detail on that. That's how I usually do it. And then Kennedy usually do the research on getting bios and all of that kind of stuff on the person, and that's how I kind of prepare. Our show is there to, like we say, to try to do something. So I just try to hopefully get something out of what they're doing and their experience in life and what they've been through to help people, and not just politically or business, but personally. Because we deal a lot of people, they drop a lot of bombs on me. I'd be like, wow, I didn't think you was gonna say that. But it was maybe something personally they were dealing with, they just always wanted to say, and they'll say it, and it might help somebody else. So I kind of I let people do that. So I try to use the platform for that.
I feel you, because I know for me, I feel like, and this is maybe the competitive side of me, because I was the interview, like you said, I watch the interview, I'm like, I'm gonna get that exclusive, I'm gonna get that stuff they ain't say on that one, you don't get it here.
Yeah, I try to do that, and I try to make mine like how your show is. You know, I if I'm going to bring on an elected official or somebody, because like you say, some of the guests I try to pull some big guys in.
Yeah.
If I bring them in, I want them to take the tie off, let's sit down and let's really just talk. Yeah, because if you come in here and give me the your stump speech and all that, nobody gonna watch the show.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody really don't care about
good.
what like we talked about is your action. So unless you somebody really actionary that people like, hey, he's gonna have so and so on there. We know. Other than that, they don't want to hear you get up there and talk that same old crap about, oh yeah, I believe we ought to be fighting for blah blah blah, and they ain't doing nothing.
Yeah.
Man. So people, I think that I try to make it that way so people feel more comfortable to talk about it, give it up. You know.
No, that's good. That's good. And I love how you said you used people park. I know for me, I will watch tons of social proofs, tons of it, to the point to where I'm like, I like to think this podcast is like a love letter to the podcasts I watch. Earning Leisure, Social Proof. I even took a little bit from Drink Champs, Breakfast Club. You know what I'm saying? And all these podcasts, all these different platforms had the same thing. They were a voice to a generation, to a people. And
I like the Drink Champs.
Yeah, listen.
I mean, I just can't. I wish I could. I mean, I really. If I could do one, I'd love to do the Drink Champs. I mean, have our own Drink Champs. Oh man.
Listen. Hey, I love it. Listen, that's why the 2U wines there. Now the 2U wines, it does it every single time.
Oh,
you know,
they be having fun on the Drink Champs.
and I feel like, that's why I like his podcast, because it's a little bit different, but at the same time, it's for a different demographic. But at the same time, it's an interview. He's getting value, and he's getting stories that they typically will not get anywhere else. Because they drunk a little bit, but it still works. You know.
So you guys gonna do any live feeds and any of that? Not live feeds, but instead of doing them here, you're gonna do some video feeds as well?
So it's funny because we were working on some panels. We're gonna have some panel interviews where one we're coming up. And thank you for segueing into that. In October, right around Sweetest Day. So typically, one of our events we have a dating game. We're trying to have a panel discussion about love, relationship, entrepreneurship, about how, as an entrepreneur, we're going to have a single entrepreneur, how do you approach them? You know, say, you single, hey, I live a busy life. You trying to be in my life, you got to some way you got to come to me, right? Dating and being an entrepreneur, you're both entrepreneurs. How do you navigate, I'm busy, you're busy, but we still have time for each other? And then being married to be entrepreneurs, because that's a whole different dynamic too. What do you do with your spouse if they have a business one that they want to get into, but you like the security that they work their 9 to 5. You know, how do you work? How do you do all those things? You know, so having a discussion about that still encompassing entrepreneurship, but we're talking about the two things people look up: business and relationships.
I had to deal with that a lot.
Yeah, see. So we might have to, you come on and talk about that, because I mean that's real.
I mean, you don't want my perspective. But no, like I said, I've been an entrepreneur all the time.
Yeah.
But there's been times where I had to go to work. So I tell people that all the time. It seemed like every time a business went down, I had to go to work for about a year and a half. And then I'd be like, you know what, I'm quitting. She'd be like, are you kidding me? I'd be like, hey, I found something else. That's going to pay us a lot more money. And she'd be like, shake her head. But, you know, I've been doing that for a long time. Like you said, it's the partner, though.
Yeah, no, listen, and because we see on this podcast quite a bit, we talk about during the pandemic, it was like a whole renaissance where everybody, I'm an entrepreneur now, right? And now, you know, since everybody's an entrepreneur, so now we're in a generation where we're being an entrepreneur, but you will still navigate love, how we do that now. So we're trying to...
They need to learn how to operate entrepreneurship, man. Jesus, man. I mean, God, you're right. Everybody's an entrepreneur. Yeah. Everybody's a consultant. Everybody's this. And my problem is, again, after being out here all these years, is that, you know, everybody can't be the consultant. Somebody got to work.
Come on.
Come on, man. Who's going to work? And that's one of the biggest issues I think we're having out here. I mean, I didn't become a consultant until I learned my craft and knew it all and everything, and knew it well enough and had enough experience that I felt that somebody want to pay me for my stuff. And we got a lot of people now, man, that I'm telling you, especially now in the business, I talk with them and ask them, and they try to use their experience and they don't have it, and they want top dollar, and it's just like, man, you don't have no experience.
So you know what's so crazy? Because we live in a day and age where now, if I buy a course on Instagram from one of these gurus, I'll read the course, not even applied it.
Right.
Read it.
Right.
And then like, all right, I'm about to rebrand it as mine, and now we in business now.
We in business.
Let me rent this Lamborghini.
Exactly.
Sit in front of it and buy my course.
They don't even rent the Lamborghini, man. They just see it, they look around, they call you, hey, ready? Boop, 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 and they out of there.
They out of there. Yeah.
Gotta be running down the street, get off my car.
Right.
You see a lot of videos like that, man. They ain't even doing that these
No,
days.
you're right.
I mean, so it's just really, really kind of wild. And my thing is, and everybody got to get a start in business, and we got to always open it up and give people opportunity. But that's been the biggest challenge that I have, is that trying to find people with the experience to do what they say they're going to do. And that's been my biggest challenge, man, trying to find younger people. Man.
Yeah.
It's just trying to find them. They just don't want to do
Oh,
it.
you heard about that?
They just don't want to do the work.
I got 3 kids. My oldest is 16, and she works now, but it was hard to get her to work. She was like, "Dad, I'm going to go be a YouTube star." I was like, "Okay, Bree, let's try it out." But at the same time, the concept of working wasn't something she wanted to do. She's like, "Work for somebody else? What? Ugh."
But you know, and the whole concept again, like you say, YouTube is work.
Yeah.
Content
No,
creating
you're right.
is hard. It's
hard work,
constant. And here goes the other hardest part about it, is that when you into your brand of what you do, and like what I do and everything else, you got to kind of stay true to that.
Yeah.
So you could get caught up in social media, and just because this dude went outside and did some crazy dance and got 1 million hits, and everybody's saying this, and now you trying to figure out, hey, I gotta do this dance for people to look at my web. So that's the hardest part about it. And so it's trying to stay true in your lane, create the content that people want to look at, that's consistent with your brand. That's hard.
No.
That's really hard.
Being a person who has to create content, I understand 100%.
Yeah.
It is hard, and especially don't let it be an industry where it's saturated. On top of that, how do you differentiate yourself from everyone else?
Yeah. I can take a video of me getting in the car, in and out the car all day long, all kinds of stuff, go home, find some old crazy saying they saying on some template, put pictures of me getting in and out of the car, all of that to make it some crazy thing. But that's not my brand. You see what I mean? And so when I do that, it's kind of taking me away from who my brand is and all of that. So it's trying to stay true to your brand, stay true to what you're doing, so that you can, you know, become that person in that. Because it's easy to get caught off of it. And here goes another thing for us business people: our personal pages versus our business page. We try to think, oh, this is my personal page, I can put what I want to put over there, and I can say what I want to say over there, and nobody's doing it, but they're watching you everywhere. And so it's like, you know, you got to be careful with that. So even if you try, your personal page can take you so far off brand from your business page, because people are like, you're personal, like, Ken, you wow. Gee, I didn't know you listened to that, or you did that, or you were a part of that. So it's all of that kind of stuff.
How often we see a tweet from someone that made a tweet from like 2005, always come back to creep up and bite them in the butt?
Correct. So it's those kind of things that, you know, you have to just be careful with.
No, and I would say from interviews I got from you this far is, one, your brand matters. Whether it be a podcast, whether it be a politician, whether it be just whoever you are in business, your brand speaks to your audience or whatnot. Know your audience, and knowing your audience is also important.
That's correct.
And I think that's something that needs to be said, because of course we're not marketing, like, we know our demographic, right? The podcast, we know where our demographic is people from 18 to 39. It is people who are either starting a business or are in a business but are kind of struggling, kind of find inspiration. That's our demographic, right? We're not trying to appeal to other groups. And then on top of that, our majority of our demographic is African Americans and whatnot. But thank you to white people who watch also. But I say that to say, is like, knowing that, we know how having certain guests on, how we format it, how we go about it is what's going to appeal to that audience and whatnot. So I think that's something great that you do. with your, cause like you said, you're not doing no TikTok dancing on your podcast.
Right.
You're not doing none of that. You're having a conversation with, I feel like I said, heavy hitters. Like y'all talking about, like you said, everything, but at the same time, it's a genuine conversation. Like you said, and I love how you said block the People's Party or whatnot. Cause I think that's dope. Cause now I think about, I see the correlation now. I see it. I see it. You know, and that's dope right there. So I'm gonna give you guys your flowers, cause that's a great concept.
Yep.
So I got a question for you. So that being said, where do you plan on taking strategic moves going forward?
We're just going to continue to do the podcast. I want to continue to grow in. I'm calling it the Strategic Network, and Strategic Moves Network. And basically, the Strategic Moves Network. Hopefully, it'll be a string of shows that we're going to put on. We'll have the Strategic Moves with Ken Dowell. That's on Sundays that you'll be able to watch. On Mondays, we're going to be doing a show called Resource Mondays with Ken Dowell, and that's where I'm going to just be me talking directly to Ken, giving you guys information and tips about how to grow your business and that stuff. Then we talked about concepting out a program in my mind called Strategic Money Moves, and that'll be like on a Wednesday program where people come in, and I want to have a co-host to kind of sit down and we talk about financial money moves and things that people can do to try to elevate and try to help people think about generational wealth and things of that nature, bring on insurance agents and bankers and people like that to kind of talk to people about that. Then my last project is I got a thing called Follow Me Fridays that we've been trying to put together with Kennedy, where we want to go around to entrepreneurs with restaurants and nightclubs, not nightclubs, but restaurants and happy hours to tell people on Fridays you should come to this happy hour and meet the club owner. They're doing blah blah blah. You can come have drinks and this and that, and talk a little bit about them entrepreneurship and why their happy hour is good on Friday. They're giving away food, they're giving away drinks, they're doing that.
That's what I'm talking about. Put a spotlight on.
Put a spotlight on. So my goal with Strategic Resources, which is the company again, is to try to use the podcast as a tool for the company, is to be able to have a viewer come to the Strategic Moves Network. If you don't like what I'm doing on Sunday, you might like me on Monday. If you don't like me on Monday, you might like me on Wednesday. If you don't like me on Wednesday, you might like me on Friday. And by then, with our ebooks and all the other things that we're going to put inside all of that,
that's what I'm talking about.
That's kind of where we're trying to take it to, and networking and all of that. So we got a lot of stuff that we got planned. We're going to plan on working with you guys more.
Oh yeah, come on now.
And having you guys
family
help
now.
us out and help us do some networking and some marketing and some things. So yeah, that's basically what we want to do. Pass on the knowledge I got, because I can't take it with me.
No, listen, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. That's dope right there.
That's what we got going.
Yeah. All right. No, listen, that's good stuff right there.
Yeah.
That's the hopes. So.
No, listen, and we already know it's gonna happen because you, like I said, you guys already got a strong foundation. Now it's only gonna build from there. So that's what I'm talking about.
Excellent.
So on our podcast, we have, like you said, we have some I have certain questions. Thank you. Certain questions I like to ask. Thanks, Brittany. That's what I'm talking about. See, that's what I'm talking about. Certain questions I like to ask, and like for me, I like asking questions because like, I look back on the interview, I'll be able to say, okay, yeah, he did that, or you know what I'm saying, she did that, and all that good stuff. So one of the questions, but this is the whole reason why I started our podcast. Cleveland had a stigma of us not coming together, and you're a perfect example of what happens when people collaborate, come together. What do you think needs to happen for us to be able to break that stigma for our city?
I think we have to just do more collaboration. I think it takes more I think we got to change the way we do things, and that's part of the thing that I was saying with us and changing the way we do business. It's the same way that everybody do business. We all have to do business here. We have to do more collaboration. We have to have more platforms like this, more platforms like mine and others that we all collaborate with each other on and be able to bridge that gap. The same people that come on mine may be different than yours and vice versa. So part of that is in that. And the other part of it is the leadership of the activism in the community and getting involved. Cleveland just got this great cloud
it really does.
of haterism that it has. You know, we really. I mean, and you, Brandon, you understand this too, man. You could see a whole bunch of people, and I know this first class. When I first started my podcast, I have maybe 3,500 people that are Facebook fans, friends, whatever you want to call them.
Don't get me started.
And I couldn't get 100 of them to come over and watch my podcast.
I harass them. I'll be in their DMs like, hey, watch it. Next week, watch. You're going to block me.
Yeah, you're going to have, I mean, they just, and you will see them on the street.
On the street.
And they will tell you, hey, I saw your podcast. And you'd be like, but I know you didn't subscribe. I know you didn't like. So I much rather you, and in some cases, here goes another tip to everybody. I much rather you leave me a comment and like.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just do that. Hit the like button and just say great podcast. You ain't got to subscribe.
You ain't
Just do
gotta
that. Every
subscribe.
time you
Just do
see that, just do that.
Just do that.
That's all. And it makes me feel better. It
No.
makes Brandon feel better. It makes her. It just
Yeah.
makes us know that
That's
you're
right.
watching the podcast.
Yes.
That's all. Don't subscribe if you don't want to. Just go ahead, hit the like button, and leave us a comment. Just say great podcast. It was good, or thank you, or anything. That's the kind of thing that just really and Cleveland. And the more I bring on different music artists, poets, and no matter who I talk to, they all say the same thing. So it's something about this grit we have in Cleveland that we come across that way, man. And that's why everybody say, man, if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere, man. Because the people here is just really hard.
They are. We are. We are.
It's hard,
We are.
man. Hard fans, you know.
Yeah. But
we just hard,
Yeah.
man.
I know they say about New York, but I feel like Cleveland is just in the same vein. You
New
know
York
what I'm saying?
just more people.
Yeah.
It's more people, and it's probably okay because you can probably blend. In Cleveland, you ain't blending.
No, you ain't. That's a fact. That's a fact.
It's tight, man.
No, you're right.
And so I think that we just got to do more collaboration, man. More together. It's just like I said, more togetherness and more community. You know, to fight for the stuff that the community needs and to stand up for the stuff and be willing to speak up when some injustice is being done that you know is wrong, and to say something about it and quit the bull crap we going through.
Yeah.
Man. We going through a lot of wilding and craziness, man.
You right about that.
I don't know.
You right about that. No, but like I said, that's great stuff because that way I like to say collaboration. I feel like that's a superpower here at the podcast, collaborating. Because we have no problem reaching out to this person. We have no problem doing this project with a person. Because once again, who are we to say no? I'm not saying who are we to say no, but once again, if it's something going to better the community as a whole, let's do it.
Yeah, that's the only. You know, I've been talking to people because one of my pet peeves is African American males and how African American males has been really left out of discussion on a lot of things and how we registering very low in all classes of everything.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I try to tell people all the time is that we need to kind of look at how we take everything else that's going on in our communities as it relates to situations with crime, situation with employment, and all the other stuff that's going on. And if we don't start getting back to what's the word I was looking for? I done lost my thought real quick. I was saying that if we don't get back to trying to get into the community where we start coming together and speaking back up again, you know, it's going to start it's not going to, the community is going to continue to fall into the position that we're in. And African American males being the top of that, we don't get enough help and we don't get enough credit for the stuff that we're trying to do. So my goal is that I really try to do my part, and I don't know what it is that we can do to solve any of those issues, but I think getting to solving those problems is what you're doing with your podcast, what I'm doing with my podcast, because maybe somebody's going to come on and talk about something that we can pick up and say, you know what, that person had the great idea, and that's what we need to do. And so the biggest part is collaboration and continue to open up doors like we're doing right now to let people have a voice to be able to speak out.
No, and like I said,
And we need more of them. And we should collaborate more with each other's podcasts so that we can do it, because it's big enough. You know, some people may think, oh, I don't want to share because these are my viewers, and you're like, you're crazy.
No, it's
enough to go.
It's enough to go around.
No.
Because it's millions of people. It's like that one guy when I first got going, I was doing some advertising, And he said, where are you advertising? He said, I just see you advertising in Cleveland. I said, yeah, man, because I'm from Cleveland.
Right.
He was like, man, it's called the World Wide Web.
Yeah.
What the hell you just advertising in
Yeah.
Cleveland for? And I
Yeah.
thought about it and said, you know what, you're right. Now, I'm not going all around the world,
Yeah.
but I do some targeting. But, you know, he's right. We got to open up outside of
yeah.
Cleveland if we want to do what we need right, because we ain't going to find it right here, bro.
No, that's real. That's real. You know, so crazy because like when I look at analytics though, like the sad part about it, a good majority of our viewers not even from Cleveland.
Oh no, ours
Yeah,
ain't.
it's like oh,
I just told you they all walking around saying they want to subscribe.
Yeah, I think it's
Not
wild
like
that.
They know about your show.
Yeah, they know about it. But they ain't subscribed.
They ain't subscribed, they ain't like it,
Yeah.
they ain't comment. No.
So don't get me started on that. It's funny you get a whole stranger to subscribe for you get your people. I'm
I
like,
tell
oh.
you how well your show is and everything.
Yeah.
It's not going to be your people here.
But
man.
it is, yeah. It is.
But you guys, again, are doing a hell of a job because y'all doing pretty good with some of y'all. Y'all got a much bigger fan base in the city than a lot of people do. So that is good.
And I'll credit all this consistency. Like I said, it's other podcasters and shout out to other podcasters, but like I want to say, us being consistent, that has always been our secret sauce.
Yes.
Ranks to just know we gonna keep bringing it to y'all. You know.
That's excellent.
So yeah. So okay. So I got another question for you. Legacy. I know it's a big piece, but like I was saying, I say every episode, I never forget. I was watching this Nipsey Hussle interview, and he was talking about his legacy in that video, and they played it. You know, unfortunately after he passed, but he did everything he said he was gonna do in that video. So I want to ask you, what do you want your legacy to be for you and for everything you've done for the city thus far?
I think legacy is based on the people you leave behind to help you push it through. You know, and I'll give you an example. If you come into my office now, there's a picture of Arnold Pinckney that's sitting on my wall that's in there. And Arnold Pinckney was a gentleman in the city of Cleveland who did political campaigns and stuff similar to what I did for years and years. He was part of Carl Stokes, Lou Stokes, Jesse Jackson campaigns. He's a staple in the country as it relates to black political folks and that kind of thing. I had dedicated a room in one of my conference rooms, called it the Pinckney Room for Strategic Thought. And I put it there because I said, I don't put a room dedicated to him. Now, he didn't help plenty of people get elected and did all of this stuff that he did in this city. But they haven't named the school after him. They haven't named the library after him. They haven't done anything. So every day I come in my office, I say, hey, Mr. Pinckney, I talked to him on the wall. I said, brother, I'm going to roll with you until they find a place for you. Now, legacy is people like me who've been trying. I went to the mayor and a few other people like, hey, let's try to name a school after him. And they're really trying to do some stuff now. Went to the library and tried to get the library to do it and all of that stuff. So to answer your question is that only legacy I can have, I'm working on a project now that I'm doing that's called the African American Men's Action Network, which is going to be a platform where we're looking to bring all things that can help African American males under one digital platform, so that you can be able to go to that platform if you needed help for mental health, if you needed help for trying to find a mentor, if you was looking for help for soft skills, all of that. So I'm trying to put all of that under one platform and be able to work with that and work with the city and the county to kind of push that on. So to get to your question, legacy to me is the work that you put in. I put in the work because I talk amongst my people. I said if Arnold Pinckney is supposed to be Michael Jordan, I feel like LeBron James. I'll be like, damn, I done did as many campaigns, I done did this, but everybody always talking about Michael Jordan. So I was like, my legacy is not going to be in campaigns. It's not going to be all the campaigns that you ran. It's not going to be all the stuff we spent all those hours talking about, because if there's no Ken Dowell, somebody who's going to take my picture and put it in a conference room and say, Ken Dowell is my guy, and until I fight for him to put him on something or fight, he's going to ride with me, I won't have no legacy.
That's good.
So in order to build one, I'm building this platform, and from this platform, hopefully people will pick up on it and we'll get going. And then it'll be something that I can leave my kids who will get some financial benefit
Yeah,
from it,
yeah,
who will
yeah.
then want to do what? Continue my legacy.
Yeah. No, that's good.
So that's the way I figured it out.
Yeah, that's
and that's
good.
how I'm gonna build my legacy.
Let us all get that legacy right there.
So if you want to know how to build a legacy, that's how you do it.
There you go. There you go. And like I said off camera, but I'm gonna say it, and everyone probably used to by now. I feel like the most important question, because I feel like the mark of any good interview is having takeaways. And we talked about so many great things tonight. I just want to pinpoint what you think, in your opinion, are 3 things someone should get from this interview.
Get involved in whatever it is. Fight for whatever you believe in. And fight for whatever you want to believe in, and get involved. Don't quit. Always do what you need to do, and no matter what anybody tell you, you can do it. Those are the biggest things.
Those are some great things.
Those are the biggest things, man. You know, I believe you got that, because that's basically been the sum of my story. And
Yeah.
I can talk for hours. We just kind of shut over, but yeah, that's it in a nutshell.
No, and like I said, those are great points. I feel like those are things that when you break it down, you boil it down, come down to those 3. So that's all good stuff right there. So listen, all right. So we're gonna do part 2. We'll come on your platform next to do part 2. You know.
All you gotta do is get with Kennedy. I'd love for you to come.
All right. Y'all heard that
Sit
part 2.
down
We
talk about it. You
yes,
invited
teaching
me.
moves.
All right, well, thank you.
Come on.
And we appreciate it. So
Well, thank you.
where can people reach you at? If they want to be a guest on Strategic Move, where can they reach you at?
You can reach me at info@astrategicmove.com. Or you can reach Kennedy, Kennedi, at astrategicmove.com, or you can reach me, Ken, Kenn, at astrategicmove.com. And our website is astrategicmove.com. And you can get all the information you can about us.
And listen, y'all support us, y'all watch our podcast, watch Strategic Moves. Y'all rock with us, y'all rock with Strategic Moves, okay?
We appreciate it.
No problem. No, like I said, we appreciate you. And I don't know if y'all did, but we like David saying, we gotta pay some bills first, right? We want to thank you guys once again for tuning in every week. Y'all keep watching, y'all keep subscribing. We can't thank y'all enough. Y'all make my heart feel good. Because it lets us know that what we're doing is not just in vain. So I want to thank y'all for that. And next, I want to talk about, guys, y'all know we've been talking about it forever, and it's finally here. We are just looking for a venue. We already got the dates. Shout out to Steve. You know, still got the dates now. So now, y'all, we're going to teach you how to build. We've been talking about podcasts all night. We're going to teach you how to do. We're going to teach you from conception to how you can make money in your podcast, guys. And that is coming soon. Once we get the venue down, we're going to put that together for you guys. Lastly, also, September, oh my gosh, she's not here. The kid's going to kill me. September, we have Wine Fest at Kane Park. Nakia, she's thank you. September 19th, we're going to have Wine Fest at Kane Park. It's going to be a great time for music, wine. Come support us, support her. 2U Wines come September 19th. And I think, am I missing anything?
I think you got
I think I'm on. I think I got on. Okay. Guys, we can't thank y'all enough.
23rd.
September 23rd. Thank you, Steve. Steve's the greatest, y'all. But September 23rd, I'm sorry. Nikita, whoop my butt later. December 23rd at Kane Park, guys. It's going to be a good time. Guys, once again, we can't thank y'all enough. And this is episode 122. 122. Listen, y'all, we just keep them coming. But listen, y'all, we thank y'all. We'll see y'all next time, all right? Peace.